In Acadia, a candlelight vigil is set for 2 teens who died in a single vehicle crash Sunday night. The crash happened on I-10 at exit 76. Troopers say the driver lost control getting off the interstate. Chris Welty is live at Midland High School. Chris has more from the vigil to remember those two.
Kendria, a very somber evening here at Midland High School. The vigil just got started about 5 minutes ago here under the pavilion at the school. The whole community coming together, wrapping each other in their arms, crying as they're trying to just make sense of the accident that happened on Sunday evening. Now, 19-year-old Kylan Meir and 19-year-old Dante Lacombe, both of Morse, were killed in the crash. According to troopers, Meir was wearing a seatbelt at the time of the crash, but Lacombe, who was the front seat passenger, was not. Troopers do believe that speed played a major factor in the crash. Now, right now, loved ones are sharing some thoughts of both of the teens, and we're learning a little bit more about who exactly they were. And we'll, of course, have a full recap for you on Acadiana's News Channel tonight at 10. Live in Midland, Chris Welty, KATC TV3.
Here's Eric's 24-hour forecast.
And it was a beautiful but cool day for us here in Acadiana. Temperatures began on the chilly side. 39 was our low here in Lafayette, but you can see up to the north, 35 for Opelousas and Alexandria, maybe even a little bit of areas of patchy frost first thing to get our Tuesday started. But like yesterday, that sunshine was able to warm things up as we got into the lower 60s, especially interstate on southward, upper 50s up to the north. But right now, things are starting to get cool again. 53 here in Lafayette, but already those 40s developing from Alexandria up to Opelousas, where they're sitting at 49 degrees. So if you're heading out to celebrate the new year later on tonight, you might need that jacket, as temperatures will be making their way down into the lower 40s by the time we hit midnight, and eventually could make their way into the upper 30s by tomorrow morning. Then for your New Year's Day, it doesn't look too bad. Clouds will be increasing with maybe a few peaks of sunshine in the morning. Temperatures like today will make their way into the lower 60s. But beyond Wednesday, that's when it looks like the chance for showers and storms make their way back into Acadiana. We'll break down the timing, and plus we'll look at the latest models to figure out just how much rain we can expect.
In Lafayette, one woman is in jail in connection to a shooting that happened early Monday morning. The shooting happened on the 100 block of Friendship Street. Tanisha Karen is facing a charge of attempted second-degree murder. The victim was transported to a local hospital and is listed in stable but critical condition. Caught on video in Lafayette, a car on Industrial Parkway caught on fire in the parking lot of a business. The fire was put out and there are no injuries reported. Today in downtown Lafayette, people got a tour of the future site of what will be the city's latest health food store. The store will be named Handy Stop Market and Cafe, and it will open in spring 2020 on Jefferson Street. The store will provide locally sourced produce, meats, and dairy items. Drinks such as tea and smoothies will also be available.
We started demolition on Handy Stop Market and Cafe here in downtown Lafayette. It's been a long process to get here, a lot of permitting and processes and prayers to get us this far, and really excited about finally starting the demolition.
LCG bus services ran regular schedule today, but tomorrow, New Year's Day, there will be no bus service, including LTS, Night Owl, or paratransit services. Also in Lafayette Parish, Republic Services will not collect trash or recycling tomorrow. Customers who normally have their trash picked up on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday can expect it to happen the day after their normal collection day. Next week, all services should return to normal. Looking ahead, in Vermilion Parish, recycle bins are expected to be removed this week. That's according to Vermilion Today. The decision comes after the police jury became aware that the company taking the recycled items from the parish was allegedly bringing the items to a landfill that does not recycle. Over the Christmas holidays, residents used the bins and they were overflowing with garbage by Monday. The Lafayette Science Museum will bring in the new year with a gala. The event's theme is the 1920s, and the doors open at 9 and will end at 1 a.m. And as we say goodbye to 2019 and roll into the 2020, many of us will be celebrating tonight. Jamie Angel has more on why you should party responsibly.
Whether you're heading to a house party or perhaps going to a bar or restaurant to watch the ball drop, there's a good chance alcohol may be involved. Something that concerns local law enforcement officers during the holidays.
When you're going out, it's not that we don't want you to celebrate. We want you to celebrate, have a good time tonight, but be smart, be safe, don't drink.
Last New Year's Eve in Louisiana, 74 people were injured and 2 were killed in drunk driving crashes.
I think the most frustrating thing about all drunk driving related fatalities is they're 100% preventable.
If you do decide to drink and drive this New Year's Eve, well, this could end up being your ride, and it won't be taking you home.
There's zero tolerance, not just in this state, but across the country.
If you will be drinking this New Year's Eve, there are several options available, like calling a friend or family member or using a taxi or ride-sharing service.
If none of those options are available, just stay put.
So if you're getting on the roads tonight, expect to see increased police presence throughout Acadiana.
We want to see you alive. We want to see you safe. We definitely don't want you to become the first deadly statistic of 2020.
In St. Martinville, Jamie Angel, KATC, TV3.
Fireworks are a staple to ring in the new year, but setting them off the wrong way can cause serious injuries. Abby Breitenbach has more tips on how you and your family can be safe.
For New Year's, we average probably about 4 to 5 calls during that season.
Scott Fire Chief Chad Saunier says it isn't the fireworks that cause the problem, it's misuse.
We recommend that an adult's around at all times whenever they're doing it to make sure that it's being done properly and safely.
Always read the given instructions on fireworks and light them with a punk, one of these long sticks meant to keep hands far away from any flames.
Once you light it, you want to leave the area for about 30 feet. Make sure you're clear until the firework actually leaves or finishes popping. If it doesn't finish popping and it's some type of malfunction in the firework, stay away from it for about 10 to 15 minutes and then go back and pour water on the firework.
Most importantly, fireworks should only be used in their intended way. Never take them out of the ground to hold or throw them. And of course, ask any questions you may have before making a fireworks purchase. In Scott, Abby Breitenbach, KATC TV3.
Church Point police are encouraging residents to not fire off guns at midnight to celebrate the new year. A town ordinance bans shooting a firearm in the air in corporate limits. You can face a charge if you're caught. And still ahead on Acadiana's News Channel, a record spending amount was set in this year's governor's race. That's at 6:18. That's after Eric's True View forecast for where you live. We'll be right back.
ATC Weather Lab. Here's Eric's forecast.
It was a gorgeous end to 2019 with lots of sunshine today, but we got some changes as we move into 2020. Clouds will return tomorrow, and then soaking rains and even a few thunderstorms could be possible as we move into Thursday. So let's get right to the setup, and we're going to start with the water vapor because that's where we're starting to get the system developing. Right now, it's this big area of low pressure in the upper levels now making its way towards the Baja of California. It's tapping into that subtropical jet stream out in the eastern Pacific, already sending some moisture over Mexico and making its way into the southwestern portion of Texas. That is the moisture that we're going to be watching, and that is going to be the big key in whether or not we get the flooding rains or just some simple rains as we go into Thursday. And you can see this low has now pretty much got closed off, so it's going to be a slow moving system. That's why it's not going to get here until about Thursday, but there's still a little bit of uncertainty on the track. Now, if this thing continues to dig a little bit more to the south, that'll send this more over the Gulf and over top Louisiana. But if it continues to start lifting then up to the north a little sooner, it might send it more over Texas, and we might just get some residual rain move through with the front then as we go later on into Thursday and into Friday. But you can see that system already starting to send some clouds across southern Texas, and some of that is beginning to make its way into Acadiana. So some high clouds are really beginning to thicken up. We saw that on the traffic cams just an hour or so ago. Made for some very picturesque sunsets this evening with those high clouds moving in, but those clouds will continue to stream across Acadiana for our Wednesday, and that's going to keep us on the cooler side, and that's how the model shows it. Gradually, clouds move in tomorrow, maybe some morning sunshine, but I do expect a good bit of clouds around for our Wednesday. Maybe a stray shower as we go into the second half of our Wednesday, but I think most of tomorrow should be dry. It won't be until that front lifts up tomorrow evening that we could get an isolated shower or two right along it. But I think the better rain chances hold off until we go into Thursday. But this model actually keeps most of the rain more over in the Texas and keeps it up towards the Arklatex region and then up in the Arkansas as far as the heaviest rains, and then finally brings the front through as we go later on into Thursday and into Thursday evening. Now, with this setup, this goes down on the flooding threat, but it makes it more of a severe weather threat. As you're able to get that warmer air out ahead of the front, you start to get more of those isolated storms, so we could start maybe getting an isolated tornado. Temperatures will be in the 70s, so enough ingredients to maybe possibly give us a little better chance for some severe weather. but that's the yin yang, and so it keeps most of the rains to the north. You can see the heavier showers up there. We're only looking at about an inch for us here in Acadiana, so this would be on the lower end of the rainfall totals. But now I'm going to show you the European model. This is the one that's been more consistent. So clouds for our Wednesday. The front moves through as we head towards midnight, so we'll begin to see scattered showers arrive overnight Wednesday into first thing Thursday morning. That's when the low moves over. You see the yellows. That's the heavier rains, maybe a few thunderstorms in there, but I don't think severe weather with that. I think it's more just those heavy rains with some gusty winds, and then as that moves up, we see more showers, just steady rains continue throughout a good portion of our Thursday. Now, what's going to throw a wrinkle is there's that upper level low that'll be dropping down from the north. Now, depending on what happens with this, if they merge, that could move it faster, or if they stay apart, that could keep the rains lingering into our Friday, as the latest model shows that, as we continue to have at least a few lingering showers even through Friday afternoon. Before then, that secondary front moves through, bringing the cooler temperatures as we push into the weekend. But you do see plenty of sunshine as high pressure builds in across the area. So here's a look at the rainfall totals, at least with the GFS and the Euro. It's going a little bit on the higher side, 2 to 3 inches possible across all of Acadiana. So here's what I'm thinking for our Thursday. Soaking rain's definitely going to be a possibility. We'll still keep it in the 1 to 3 inch range, but I do think isolated higher amounts possible, leading to some minor street flooding. So that's what we have to worry about. And then, as I mentioned, there is that low-end chance for maybe a few severe thunderstorms, as we are under that marginal risk for just about all of Acadiana. Damaging wind gusts and maybe an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out, but I think this is the secondary threat. I think the main threat will be those flooding rain possibilities, especially if we get a good soaking in a short period of time. But for your night, a cool evening as we welcome in 2020 to this evening. 39 for that overnight low of clouds starting to move in. They continue to thicken throughout our Wednesday. 61 for that afternoon high, maybe a stray shower late in the day, but the rains more or less get here as we push into Thursday. We start to clear out and cool off as we push into the weekend and stay on the cooler side into next week with another front bringing a few showers on Tuesday.
All right, thank you, Eric. We'll still to come on Acadiana's News Channel. An investigation begins into the recent deaths of several homeless people in Baton Rouge. That's at 6:18. Plus, a record spending amount was set in this year's governor's race. State News is next. After 3 homeless people were killed in Baton Rouge this month, police are now investigating if they're all related. The most recent death happened Friday. Tony Williams was shot and killed on the porch of a vacant home, not far from where 2 other homeless people had been killed just 2 weeks earlier. Police say it's not clear if the homeless victims were targeted. In this year's governor's race, a state record has been set for the amount spent on candidates' campaigns efforts. According to an Advocate report, about $73 million was spent, with a majority of it being spent in the 7 weeks leading up to the October primary through the November runoff. Governor Edwards will take the oath for his second term on January 13th. The former office manager of Mattress Direct's corporate headquarters in Baton Rouge is being sentenced to 42 months in federal prison for embezzling over $1 million from the company. Catherine Dyson admitted that she's diverted more